this show is bananas. I mean, it is the gift that keeps on giving. So, and I see that you're going to be, in the middle of a little bit of mess here. Why did you want to go on this show on X on the Beach?
I mean, no one really knows what they're entering in a show like this. In my mind, I had been on Love Island before. I've had so much fun with these kinds of shows, and it's always been like a new opportunity or experience, like meet people and just have fun. Like, I'm young, I want to get out there and like meet people, like single and just ready to mingle necessarily, so but you definitely aren't expecting what happens and what goes down when you're truly like in the midst of like exes and new people, and just all of that combined is a crazy ride for sure.
Yeah, you're definitely in the middle of an ex and new person sandwich, so to speak. Did you have in the back of your mind that you wanted to, resolve some unfinished business with any of your exes? And was there one person in particular you were hoping to meet up with?
Yeah, 100%. Going in, there were some exes that if they showed up, I was going to be like, no, get me off of this island, but at the same time, there, was one person, her name's Emily, and we actually met on Love Island and, have a lot of history there. So if she shows up, like in my mind, I was like, okay, I'm going to give this time, I'm going to give this effort and really see if there's something there.
Okay. And what ended up happening? Was it, just as far as you guys splitting up, was there just like a miscommunication, or what do you think it was really?
Me and Emily, it was always communication in general. It was kind of, we both were just always having fun and doing these trips and connecting. But in my mind, I always saw her as never really giving me fully that chance to like, go there. And we never really got, below surface level in a lot of ways that I wanted to. So in this kind of situation where we're stuck in the same house, stuck in the same environment, it's like, this is really the chance to see if there's something there, whereas we haven't really seen that yet. So there's always that possibility, but I still really didn't know if that was there or not.
Okay. And now I know you and David sort of have a little flirtation. What is it about him that sort of turned your head?
At first with David, I walked in, I mean, I said it on camera several times where like, he just isn't my normal type. I grew up in a very like artsy fartsy family, and I've always gone for kind of like the Johnny Depp from Crybaby is what I say. Probably shouldn't say that right now with everything happening actually, but that character, just kind of on the weirder side and artsy fartsy like I am. So walking in initially, I was like, oh, he's a jock, baseball guy, like not really up my alley. And then once I started talking to him, I was like, oh, he's goofy. Oh, he's this, he's that. And then also he's pansexual. And I've never been able to like relate with a guy like that. I've dated, a lot of, girls in some part of the spectrum or, fully into girls or stuff like that. But I'd never dated a guy who, was into guys and girls and everything in between. So it was like, oh, this is something really exciting. And he's being open and genuine with me. So I found that very intriguing.
Yeah. And then of course, though, you have like Dani on the side there, what was your relationship with Dani? Because she seemed cool at first and then she was not cool at all.
Yeah, believe it or not, with Dani, like I initially came in and I didn't even realize that they were together by the way that they were acting with one another. Like what they were doing together was all before I had gotten in there. And then I guess, yeah, David changed up how he was acting. So I initially came in and I was like, oh, this is a couple that genuinely just parted ways, so in my mind I was like, this is a girl that I vibe with and she's chill, and then also this is her ex, but they seem to be done and I'm kind of vibing with him too. And then it just insanely gets stickier and stickier and more uncomfortable, obviously, in a situation like that, because I'm not seeing the tears and all that stuff that I'm now seeing on TV, and I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah. So what was your interaction like with Dani? Did you think, oh, we're friends? Like now you're looking at it going, well, I guess that wasn't true, or?
Yeah, I mean, initially, like I said, I thought that they were done. And yeah, I saw it as a chill girl on the island that I could be homies with. We were very like laid back and just chill vibes. So we initially got along, but the more and more as time went on, I feel like, communication between me and her and David, like, at some points I was like, y'all just got to talk between you two, because I'm getting like different stories and different, green lights or red lights. I just got confused at one point and was like, I don't know where to go from here.
Yeah, that is. And then you have the whole like sharing what you're going through with all these other people. What was that experience like? Because everyone sort of has an opinion and then you're put in situations. How was that?
Yeah. I mean, on my end, everyone was pretty chill with me because I'm very like straightforward. So I wasn't trying to be sneaky. I always kind of told everyone what was up and what I was doing. And I think I did get respect in that way. But, the girls would tell me advice, and a lot of the girls were older than me in the house too. So I honestly feel like it was a very like girl supporting household in a way, but it gets messy when of course there's exes in there.
Yeah. So, I don't know if the episode I saw was an upcoming one. I know Emily does arrive.
Yes.
Did your,
I don't
did your
know
heart
what I
sink?
can say.
Yeah.
I don't know what I can say about that, or like what's aired or
Well,
not.
what was your, because you look terrified. Of course, y'all look terrified when you go to the beach. I do know that. But like, you see her coming, like, what was your initial, were you excited? Were you terrified? Were you happy? Like, what was the feeling?
Honestly, with Emily coming in, I was a whole mix of emotions because she was the ex that I kind of was fingers crossed, crossing my fingers, my toes, my everything, that she was gonna come up. I mean, Emily is beautiful. So of course, and she's just like has this fiery personality that's very, pulls you in. So I was very excited, but at the same time, I just, have made this new connection with someone that I can't just, immediately say, bye, David, whatever to you. But I also, want to give Emily my all, when she comes in. So it's just like this sticky situation that you wouldn't find yourself in real life ever, so it's just navigating that.
Yeah. So once the shock wore off, did you kind of think in your head, like, this is what I hope to accomplish with Emily? And can you tease anything that may, come out of it?
With me and Emily, once she comes in, I can't even say that it was, a chill anything, whether it was good or bad, it definitely was a roller coaster. And I learned a lot about me and Emily's relationship along with me and David's. So it's definitely a lot to go through, and a lot that I'm like, watching it on TV is going to be interesting.
Yeah, and it is. I am curious too. You've been on these shows, Love Island, this show. How has this sort of shaped your attitudes and your approach to dating? Because you have such a unique perspective most young people don't have.
Yeah, I mean, as far as dating, I feel like the biggest thing that I've learned from these shows, because you live it while you're there and then you watch it back on TV, that like trust someone when they show you who they are, because genuinely, like, I think that people right off the bat like show you exactly who they are, and then you kind of just have to go from there. So as far as, getting back with exes or like kind of doing that toxic back and forth game, I've learned in these shows that it's kind of like you just have to really follow your gut, and that's all that you can really trust, and also don't trust people's words, trust their actions is what I've learned. So yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay. All right. And did you also, from being on these shows, did you make any really good friendships that you think, I'm going to be in touch with this person forever?
Oh yeah, I honestly always do. And that's the most exciting things about these shows, because if you don't leave with someone that you're in love with or a relationship, you do leave with friends. And also with this cast in particular, it was like the most inclusive cast that I've ever been on, like being bisexual and fluid and anywhere that you want to call what I am. I've never really experienced something like this show where everyone was somewhere in the spectrum, and just like, or they were just very supportive, and it was just, not a zinger in conversation. It was just normal conversation and be like, yeah, I'm bi, or I'm whatever. And it wasn't like, oh my God, it was just like, oh, cool, me too.
Yeah, no, I did notice that about this show. It is very flowy, and it is no big deal.
Yeah, in general, I even grew up in the city in New York, and it was very, open there. Sometimes you go to other places where it's not as open. So in my mind, I was like, why can't like this cast and like how open and everything it is be like in the normal world everywhere, So it was definitely like sad leaving at the end, because I was like, oh my gosh, like this experience, this group is like so magnetic and fun to be around.
Yeah, so you would say the actual real dating world is not as open.
I wouldn't, yeah. I mean, it depends on where you grow up. It depends on what job, like, line of work you're in. It depends on so many different things. And you don't always get such, a warm, welcoming person to like, especially with David, even, expressing to me that he's into guys. I know a lot of girls, you know, that would be okay with it, and a lot of girls that wouldn't, because still in this day and age, it's like hard for people to see a guy like that, even more than a girl being bi or fluid. So it just was like, yeah, a warming experience to have so many like inclusive people around.
Yeah, yeah. And then he had this whole thing with Mike too. Like, was that like, because that was already done when you got there, right? But like, did you tell that they had some sparks or?
You know, both of them are super flirty. I get that because I'm a very flirty person too. So I never take that too, you know, serious, if that makes any sense, unless someone's like, I like you or something like that. But I mean, I obviously saw their kiss, you know, when Aris and Mike went downstairs. And, you know, to me, it was like, everyone just got on this show and he had a crush on this guy forever. Of course they kissed, like, to me, and it was before Dani was in there, I guess. So it didn't bother me at all, honestly. And like I said, a lot of people might see that and be like, oh my God, two guys kissing on TV. And me watching it on TV back, I was like, yes, two guys kissing on TV, let's go. You know?
No, I was like, kiss already, you guys, you know? So.
Yeah, but that's like something that's not shown that much. So it's really cool to see that in that way, and for David and Mike to be open and be themselves, you know?
Yeah, just like looking back on the experience too, was there anything that just shocked you?
Anything that shocked me? I would say probably just the way that some people dealt with their relationships, you know, whether you have an ex coming on that you're happy about or not happy about, it's like you still love that person or cared for them, or they were a friend at one point in your life. So I think you owe them somewhat respect, even if you're not into them. You owe them a conversation or something like that. So, you know, everyone's going to do what they're going to do, but sometimes throughout the show, I was like, you had feelings for them at once, you loved them at once, like, you know, be chill and give them a little bit of your time, you know?
Exactly. Before I let you go, would you do this show again?
Oh my God, I totally, well, I mean, it depends on where I would be in my life, you know? I heard the new one is couples or something like that.
Okay.
I don't know, I heard something like that, but it depends on where I was in my life, you know. If I was in a relationship, obviously not, you know. But if I wasn't, who knows? It's always a fun chance to like really see if you can connect with someone and find someone or meet new friends, you know. So
yeah. Well, it is definitely a fast-moving show. You know, you definitely have to be awake and follow what's happening, because you never know what's going to be around the corner. I guess that's probably the way you felt.
Oh, 100%. It's left and right hitting you with everything.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I can't wait to see what happens with you and Emily. I'm sure you can't either.
Yep.
And yeah, I appreciate your time today. Thank you so much.
Awesome. It was nice meeting you.
Yeah, thanks.